Hello everyone, and welcome to Mega Man 2, the long-awaited sequel to Mega Man 1. Just kidding, it came out a year after, and in the case of this collection, it came out at the exact same time, so not long-awaited at all. However, still a monumentous game, and the one that I would say kind of built Mega Man. Mega Man 1 is sort of a prototype compared to Mega Man 2, and that's not to say that Mega Man 2 does everything right. However, it would set the formula for the coming series, as we'll see, and in terms of sales was a much larger success than the original. Aww, I pressed start too late. As you can see here, no difficulty selection like on the NES version. Another feature missing from the NES version. Sadly, no birds. Let me hold all the face buttons. A, B, C. Start. No birds. Sadness. One of my favorite secrets in the original, but oh well. So we're starting with Metal Man here. He's, not the most, like, mind-blowing start. Pretty much everyone will tell you to start with Metal Man, not Mega Man. You have to start with Mega Man, you're playing as him. But yeah, pretty much everyone will tell you to start with Metal Man because of his weapon. Metal Man has essentially the most powerful weapon in the game, and a level that isn't even that hard to make it like a great reward for pushing through. You can just get it right off the bat. Other than that, you know, not much to talk about lore-wise. The intro pretty much said it all. These robots don't have industrial purposes the way that Dr. Lights did in the first game, so instead I'm going to bring something up that's pretty obvious to the naked eye. This video looks very different than the last one. The last two, really. And there's a reason for that. I'm not gonna beat around the bush or make funny jokes about it. I'm emulating this game. Normally I would be like, oh, on my totally legal whatever, but like, it is legal for me because I own this game. I have a physical copy of Mega Man the Wily Wars, so everything I've seen has led me to believe it's perfectly fine to emulate, and that just makes it 1,000 times easier to record. But the emulator I was using before, it had a feature where you could basically overclock the artificial system and remove any slowdown. So like if there's too much stuff going on at once, the game will slow down and almost made that jump. Just kidding, I meant to die. It's very important that we have 2 E-tanks for upcoming bosses. But anyway, the emulator I was using before had a feature where you could basically overclock the system and remove all slowdown if there was, you know, because if there's too much going on, the Genesis will slow down to save on power. And basically you could remove that feature to just have it go full speed all the time. As a result, though, I was noticing a lot of input lag. Even with the feature off, I was noticing a lot of input lag, so I've decided to switch emulators. That does mean I had to play through Mega Man 1 all over again, so that was fun. But yeah, so I decided if I can't have perfect speed, I'll at least go for, like, visual accuracy, and I feel like the CRT filter on this emulator is very solid, so yeah, I hope the difference isn't so jarring that it's, like, too much, but at the same time, I'm just doing what's best for me, because I could deal with the input lag on Mega Man 1 because it's a pretty easy game once you know what you're doing. Mega Man 2, especially with all the little changes they made in this version that, like, add up, it remains a pretty hard game no matter what. So I need controls that are as responsive as possible. But yeah, Metal Man here. We got to Metal Man. I was hoping not to need to use an E-tank, but it's fine. That's why we got 2. Pretty simple pattern, but deceptively so. He just stands in one place, jumps around. If you get too close, he'll jump to the other side of the screen, but otherwise he just stays there and jumps up and down, and he will throw his saw blades and occasionally switch the direction of the conveyor belt on the floor. Not very complex, but the way he throws his saws is like slightly random, so there's a little bit of unpredictability to it. So it's harder than it would seem at first blush. And with that, I hope you like brown and yellow. I don't know why it shows his cyan parts as being gray on this screen. It's brown and yellow in the actual game. But I hope you like those colors, because we are not going to see the Mega Buster very much in this playthrough anymore. Now that we have Metal Blade, it will basically replace the Mega Buster, because not only is it stronger than the Mega Buster, you can throw it in 8 different directions. And I just shot it 8 times. Look at how little ammo that used. It's so good. It's too good. Like, literally, it's too good. In the next game, there's a weapon that's basically this same weapon, but nerfed, and it's still really good, but it's a lot more balanced with the other ones. There's more reason to use the other weapons in the game. But yeah, Bubbleman here has taken over, I believe. I mean, it's kind of vague what this is. I've always interpreted it as the water filtration plant at Mega City, but you could take it a lot of ways. Maybe it's a waterfall at a park. An interpretation I really like is from the fan comic MS Paint Masterpieces. They interpreted it as Wily's base from the first game, but like abandoned and flooded after like 2 years of disuse. And that's really cool, but I prefer the water filtering plant thing. That just makes a lot of sense to me. It's an important landmark of the city. Dr. Wily would definitely want to control it. And, I don't know, it's just a neat idea. Bubbleman himself, probably my favorite robot master of this bunch, specifically because he sucks. He's a very easy fight, and I love the way that has influenced his personality as a character, because the Archie comics, which are the source that have gone most in depth with Bubbleman, basically just make him be this like pathetic little guy who's trying his best, and his brothers don't take him seriously, but he knows he can be the most menacing of them all. He will send Mega Man down to the 1,000 fathoms below the sea to Davy Jones' locker, whether his brothers take him seriously or not. And I love him. It's such a fun character. I love that version of Bubbleman, and I love this version of Bubbleman because he takes like no time to beat. Very simple pattern, just jumps, shoots little hooks as he comes down, shoots a couple bubbles, and then jumps again, repeat. And it's very easy to avoid, and if you have Metal Blade, it lasts no time. We are not saving because we want to be safe and happy. I love Woodman's eyeliner. I love his green eyelids. I think that's adorable. And pretty basic level theme. About what you would expect. It's a wooded forest area. The comic would make this would call this area Titanium Park, and it was sort of the central park of Mega City. And I like that. I think Titanium Park is kind of a weird name, but it works. These blue guys here shooting the fire, they are called Frienders. Spelled exactly how it sounds, Friender. which is a very strange name for something that's not your friend. That is because it is named after Friender from the anime from 1973, Neo-Human Kashan, where the main character, the eponymous Kashan, had a robot dog as a friend who could breathe fire, had various tools, could transform his body into a jet or a submarine. And if all that is sounding familiar, just be patient, we'll get there. But yeah, I actually, after finding out why Frienders are named that, I started watching Neo-Human Kashan, and like, it holds up surprisingly well. I'm only a few episodes in, but like, for an anime from 1973, it is really good. And that's not to say all anime of the time was bad. Like, I love Space Battleship Yamato, I love Space Pirate Captain Harlock, but they're all very of the era. Neo-Human Kashan feels a little more like, I don't know, maybe it's just a bias thing because I love robots and such, but it feels a little more modern than its contemporaries. It feels a little closer to what you would expect from anime today. You know, technology and budget aside. So this is Woodman. He's the reason we want that second E-Tank. He's not very hard in the NES version, and like, his pattern isn't changed at all. What you see is what you get here, but for some reason, he just has been giving me a lot of trouble in my practice runs, so I'm hoping I won't need that E-Tank, but it's really good to have just in case. I'm doing surprisingly well so far. I have not dodged the shield this many times ever. Okay, there we go. I am gonna use that just in case, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to dodge the next volley. And Woodman, made of wood. Literally made of wood, actually. He's Hinoki Cypress. But very weak to being cut, as a tree would be. Also weak to being burned, but we don't have the fire weapon. Leaf shield! Yippee! And the reason the other two files are also all clear is because they're the ones I use for my practice runs, so I just copy the data from one to the other. Airman here is a, well, he's a weapon, like the others, but he has taken over what I assume to be, and what would later be canonized in things like the comic and otherwise, as the Mega City Weather Control Facility. I don't know if it's weather control or weather, just like weather station. Later games would establish that, yes, humanity has harnessed the power to control the weather, like Mega Man 7, but I don't know if that's the case this early in the series. That said, Weather Control Facility is just a cool idea, so I dig it. I'm down for it. He is not a very well-defined character. He's pretty different from source to source. The comic would portray him as a very, like, stoic, fancy-talking kind of individual. A little bit full of himself. Very, like, monotone. I really like the Megas version of it. I feel like I've brought up the Megas a few times, but they are a band who does rock, synth rock, and also just normal rock and roll covers of Mega Man songs. Whoops! And they add lyrics to them to sort of tell their own version of the Mega Man story. And in their version, Airman is like, he's seen as this, like, monster because he's very not humanoid in his shape. So he's just like this vengeful... Whoops, I died again. I thought I was close enough to make that jump. He's very vengeful and angry. And what's cool is that they say he's, like, built from old, like... quote the song itself, built from pieces of SR-71s and planes that crashed in World War II. Like, why am I having so much trouble here every time I record this? To lift back the veil for a second, this is my second time trying to record this, and both times I've had a lot of trouble at Airman stage. At that specific part of Airman stage, too. Like, it's not just the stage in general, it's that part. And that part never gave me trouble in my practice runs, it's just when I'm recording. It's so weird. So I'm gonna just, like, I don't know, I guess I'll be quiet when we get there and pretend that I'm not recording, and we'll see what happens. I want to switch to Metal Blade so that I can aim my shots. You're too far to hit at a diagonal. You jerk. You are not too far to hit at a diagonal. We love to see it. Very fun song. Both for this level and also the song from the Megas album. I think it's called, like, The Destruction of Monsteropolis. Something like that. Because Monsteropolis, the main city of the Mega Man series, has gone by a couple names. I believe Monsteropolis is the earliest one, at least in America and other Western territories. I actually don't know about other Western territories. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with how, like, Europe treated Mega Man, to be honest, outside of, like, box art. Oh, seriously? I get past the hard part and I die to a Pippi? Alright, fair enough. Honestly, I wasn't super paying attention. So, fair play, fair play. I'm gonna give this one more try. And if I screw it all up again, I'm gonna flip a lid. That's a lie, I'm probably just gonna restart the recording. But I got through the hard part, and now I'm here. And we're jamming, and we're grooving, and we're smooth, and we're moving. Please stop. I would like to make forward progress, please. Oh, God, I hate Pippies. Pippies are, like, the most annoying enemy in the series. I know I said footholders are the most annoying obstacle, and I stand by that. Footholders are the most annoying obstacle. However, out of the killable enemies, I think Pippies are the worst. Airman, pretty simple. He'll shoot out 4 randomly selected patterns of tornadoes. And that's randomly selected, not randomly generated. The patterns themselves are preset. There are a few different patterns, but, oh no, it's 3, not 4. Anyway, the patterns themselves are pre-made, but there's, like 5 of them, and so it chooses one of those 5 randomly for each of the 3 things, and then it'll bounce to the other side of the thing. Very easy boss. I can defeat Airman, and I did. Item 2 completed. This is why we went the route we did. There is a certain obstacle in Heatman's stage that is borderline impossible without Item 2, at least for me. And, ooh, 20 minutes. I'll go for all the Robot Masters. It'll be a long video, but oh well. I already started this level, and it'd be weird to do 5 Robot Masters in one video and 3 in another. How about this? If I game over, I will end the episode, and we'll do half and half. That sound good? Just kidding, you don't get any input, because this is all pre-recorded. I'm not actually talking to you, I'm talking into a microphone. You could be watching this days, weeks, even years after it goes up. I could be long dead. Think about that. This could be an echo from a long bygone age. In which case, welcome, new ape overlords. How's the new millennium? How's the new era? I guess we're ape overlords, huh? Because, I mean, humans are a kind of great ape. Hold on. I wonder what will inherit the Earth after humanity. Because, I mean, it's not gonna be humanity forever. Either we're gonna die out, or we're gonna evolve. This is the obstacle, by the way. I can do it on the NES version just fine, but they changed the timing on the Yoku blocks just enough that I just cannot get a handle on it. So it's way easier to just change up my route and use item 2. Mech Joe's worst enemy in the game. I know I said it was Pippi's, but they can be tied. They can be both worst. Pippi's are just annoying. Mech Joe's are awful and tedious to take out. Heatman, my man. He will throw 3 fireballs that linger for a bit, and once you deal damage, he will fling himself across the screen toward and stop where Mega Man is standing. Very, very easy. Very, very short if you have Bubble Lead. Atomic Fire is one of the best and also one of the worst weapons in the game because it is extremely powerful, but it takes a long time to charge, and if you get it to full charge, it uses up almost half its ammo, so you only get 3 good shots with it before it's gone. So it's very strong, but it's super scarce. So you have to ration it out. You have to use it. You have to be sure where you want to use it. Before we get into anything, I just would like to show you one of my favorite jokes from the Mega Man comic without comment, so here is that. I love it so much. But yeah, I don't know what this stage is supposed to be. Maybe some kind of like radio tower. Very big, very strangely built radio tower, but it goes... Oh, is this worth it? I don't think this is worth it. These tellies are super easy to kill with metal blades, so I do not want to deal with the slowdown from Leaf Shield. Woo! Almost didn't make it back onto the platform. Then I would have had to wait for it to come back around. I have no idea what I was saying before I got annoyed with this slowdown on Leaf Shield. So, that's fun. Crashman is a fun little dude. He has a really cool design and pretty, like, bad anger issues from what I remember. At least in the comic he does. But he's also kind of a chill dude who just likes to hang out with his fellow robots. The Megas had another really interesting interpretation of Crashman where he was, he didn't want to work for Wily, but he was limited by his programming, so he couldn't directly rebel. So instead, he fought Mega Man at far less than full capacity, and just allowed himself to be killed so that his weapon could be used to defeat Wily. And I just, like... It's not my definitive take on Crash Man by a long shot. I definitely prefer the Archie version and think it's more in line with the general tone of Mega Man. But for the tone of the music that the Megas make and the tone of their story, I think it works really well and led to a really interesting version of Needleman, which we will get into in Mega Man 3. Ow. Crash Man, very easy. He jumps and shoots when you shoot, so just use Air Shooter, and it takes him out in 3 hits. It's a good thing his weakness goes up. Crash Bomber! Crashman and Flashman, back to back. Flashman is a time-stopping robot. He's the only one with a pretty noteworthy purpose. The rest are pretty straightforward weapons. Flashman, for some reason, he's like visually based on a flashlight, but in terms of abilities, he just literally stops time. Like he's got the dang Chaos Emeralds. So that's kind of fun. Wild that Dr. Wily figured that out in the time between Mega Man 1 and 2. But it makes a little more sense in the continuity of Powered Up, because one of the new Robot Masters they added for Powered Up was Time Man, a robot with an experimental robot with the ability to slow time. So it makes sense that Wily would like build on, expand upon the design of Time Man, because the ability to control time is very powerful and very poorly utilized by this Robot Master. But it makes for really fun action in the comic and in the mangas, various mangas. What? Okay, there we go. I didn't really need that health, but this route just makes it a lot easier to skip a certain upcoming hazard. That. Not dealing with that. Mech Joes are already annoying. I don't need it in very tight quarters. Got ourselves is that full? That's not nearly full. I don't know why I thought I was full on E-Tanks. Yeah, we're here at the end of the level. Feels like a very short level, but that might just be because I did a lot of the crash bomb walls and skipped a lot, so. Flashman is also weak to Metal Blade. Don't know why, but it's kind of weird from a design perspective. Just because, like why are there 3 Robot Masters who are weak to Metal Blade? That just adds to how busted strong it is. Because you can be Woodman, Bubbleman, and Flashman with it. So it's just, like, crazy. Flashman, very simple pattern. He runs back and forth, stops time, shoots. Mega Man comes back into reality either when he gets hit or after a short amount of time. A few seconds. A few seconds and stop time. Quickman! He's very fast, which is very fitting for this console. The joke is that it's on the Sega Genesis, in case you forgot. In case you forgot, since I'm not doing, like, I don't know, I'm not, like, recording my TV. Jump past the squirms. A very, very simple stage. It's very vertical. It's kind of the opposite of Elecman's stage from the first game. Where in that game it was very vertical upward, this game it's very vertical downward. You have to avoid lasers and you have to proceed through the level as quickly as possible to avoid instant kill lasers. Those lasers kill you instantaneously. This is one of my least favorite parts of this level, just because they changed it from the NES version. In the NES version, when the lights would come back, the room would be red, sort of giving the impression that the Chonky launchers were lighting it up with the torches on their heads. In this game, it's still just blue, so it's like what is providing that light? I don't know. It was a nice detail in the NES version that I wish they kept for this version. And we got a Mech Joe. Hate this guy. He's very tall. Stop it. Oh. And guess what? Second Mech Joe. Okay, we're past him. Whatever. How many? I have 3 E-Tanks and 7 lives. Okay. I'll just take the death. Because I don't know. I don't want to fight Quickman with this low health. Because he's kind of an RNG nightmare. He feels a little easier in this version. I feel like they lowered the chance that he'll jump from the NES version, but it's still kind of an RNG nightmare, so it's easier to just die. Or use an E-Tank, but with how many lives I had, I would have rather died. Sounds like I'm taking a very strong, hardline stance on E-Tank usage. No, it's convenient to me to die sometimes. Quickman is so fast that just the act of being stopped hurts him. But only halfway, so you have to blow him up the rest of the way. Jump into the bomb, thank you. Yeah, hard to avoid him when he is jumping around, but sometimes he'll just get stuck on the level geometry and not be able to move. It's pretty funny. And with that, we've defeated the 8 diabolical robot masters of the evil Dr. Wily. In the next episode, we'll take on his castle and take him down. See you all then.